Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, folks, Sports Hounds, A2D Radio with you till 10 o'clock. Brad Ryer to my right, Frank the Tank Vesby, producing the show, brought to you by BMW Atlantic City Studios. The NBA draft is Thursday, Brad, and the NBA offseason is always nuts. And this is going to be no different.
Oh, it's going to hit a crescendo the next few days.
Especially at the draft, because you have Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard wants out of San Antonio. He wants out. He wants to go to the Lakers. I think he's going to. That brings us to our poll question. Scanning out of sports poll question of the day. What team will Kawhi Leonard play for opening night of the 2018-2019 NBA season? We got Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Boston Celtics, and the Philadelphia 76ers. My answer is the Celtics. I think that makes the most sense. They have a war chest of draft picks still. They have a lot of young talent. So I think that makes the most sense. It's unfortunate for the Spurs that Kawhi is demanding a trade out of San Antonio because they lose some of their leverage. But
how much leverage do they really lose, though, Rob, if everybody and their mother is going to be after this guy?
I think a lot, based on the fact that he didn't really play last year and he's unhappy. Who knows? They could play hardball with Kawhi, not trade him, and then he sits out so he doesn't play for you again, or plays a limited role, plays games like he did last year, and then walks after next season, and then you get nothing. So I think they did lose leverage. I don't think the Lakers have the trade ammunition to get Kawhi Leonard, because ideally you want to keep Kuzma and Lonzo Ball if you're going to get Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, okay? If you get Kawhi Leonard, suppose LeBron and his buddy George decide to go there, and they found that, and
you're going to have three max contracts then.
How many can they fit under the cap? That's the question.
I mean, I guess if that happened.
Yeah, and listen, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm also thinking, and I know you didn't mention them, but what about the Knicks?
I mean, I think the Knicks have a better chance of signing a player, and I think it would be better for them to wait until the summer of 2019 to try and sign somebody like Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard if he hits the open market. You're going to have to trade it's going to be a Porzingis for Leonard straight-up trade.
Do you think that the Knicks would have to throw in their first-round pick to get a guy to make that trade?
So Porzingis, wouldn't you rather have Kyrie and Porzingis with hopefully Nicolina pans out, hopefully Tim Hardaway Jr. is not worth the contract he got, but he's still an NBA player.
Oh, listen, Tim Hardaway is a solid player. He's not a superstar, but he's a solid 17 to 18
I don't know who else
player.
the Knicks even have on their roster.
This year they'll have what's his name, Cantor back, who's okay.
He's a center. He's a good center.
He's a decent center. I mean, he's not going to hurt you. He's certainly not a negative type of player. But again, I mean, they still have Courtney Lee around, who's a nice sixth man.
He's okay.
He's okay as a sixth man, but they don't have. I mean, listen, you're not talking.
He's like the Robert Covington of the Knicks.
Right. He's Listen, they
He's a
don't
role
have-
player. He's a
yeah,
bench player.
He doesn't have. They don't have a lot of assets. If they make that trade, is it worth trading? And I'm going to put it to you like this, okay? Because this is who they could probably get. Is it worth it to trade Porzingis and Michael Bridges, who's most likely going to be their pick for this guy? And would San Antonio get a better offer? Because I do think the Knicks would consider doing this, and I think that they would think, okay, we have
So
him.
you want your
perhaps-
Knicks to trade Porzingis for Kawhi straight up. You have Kawhi next year. He gets to play in his big market, which he seems to want to play in a big market. That's
Why
he
don't-
wants to
and
be
then-
out of San Antonio.
Let me ask you
which is
this:
a small market.
We bring him in, okay? Then we bring in Kyrie next year. Kyrie has already made it very clear he wants to play in New York.
Would LeBron consider playing for the Knicks if Kawhi Leonard was in the fold?
Nah, I don't think so.
You
I don't
sure?
think the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks have enough talent. I don't think the Knicks have enough talent for him to come. He'd be playing with a bunch of clowns again, like he did in Cleveland.
But he would have
Kawhi. I understand that, but I mean, other than Cantor and Hardaway, I mean, who are okay players, but what else do you really have on that team to have two guys like that?
But that's what Kawhi might say when he's going to the Knicks. Well, okay, I'm not playing there. You're not going to have any players. Yeah, I'm just going to walk and go to the
I mean, I do think that he would love to be the face of the franchise, Kawhi. And as far as going to the Knicks, I just don't know if San Antonio would get a better offer from the Celtics. I mean, you and I had talked about that before that, and also the Sixers too. Would they rather have Simmons?
But the Sixers, well, the stuff we were talking about last week, packaging Ben Simmons and the 10th pick, that's all talk radio nonsense.
I know.
Because
I
you can't
understand
trade. But the scenario that was laid out was Simmons and 10 for Kawhi or Anthony Davis.
Oh, jeez.
If LeBron was guaranteed to sign here, which I would 100% do. Because I think there is a lot of merit to what Charles Barkley said on Twitter that blew up, that LeBron and Simmons aren't the best mixed together. Now, I think they would figure it out because talent wins in the NBA, and Brett Brown's a good enough manager of big personalities and a good enough coach, even though I criticize him a lot, to make all that talent work.
I think Brett Brown would figure out a way
Right.
for everybody to be happy.
The NBA is all about talent. It's the most
Yeah, it is.
talent-driven professional sport in the world,
Absolutely.
bar none. You only need 5 guys. You need 8 players on the team to contend. You need 3, maybe 2 superstars, depending on who the superstars are and how they fit together. Now, to me, this Kawhi Leonard stuff, this puts a lot of pressure on the Sixers. I think it's imperative that the Sixers do whatever it takes to trade for Kawhi Leonard before the Boston Celtics do.
I agree.
Because if the Celtics,
If the
add
Celtics
Kawhi
get him,
Leonard, have a healthy Kyrie Irving, and get Hayward back in, say, December, January, something like that,
LeBron may not even be able to make a difference against that team.
you're 100% right.
That's the problem.
That's
right.
a team that
See,
I don't think
so-
they would beat the Warriors,
I
but
think if
it
you're-
wouldn't be a
We're
sweep.
still
you're a
talking about the
Sixer
Celtics,
fan-
right?
Yeah.
All right. So with the Celtics, I mean, if the Celtics try to make a move for Kawhi, which will probably be another one of those big trades, you're basically going to give up a huge bench. You're going to basically deplete your bench. This is what basically caused them to,
What if they
during
traded
the Big Three era,
Frank,
their
what if
bench
they-
got depleted.
What if they traded Kyrie for him straight up?
Oh,
the money
man.
would. The money
They have-
would, the
but
money would match
That'd be
up.
something. That'd be something if that happened, if Kyrie somehow managed to
That
end up
could
in a
happen.
Spurs uniform.
I would not do that because I would want to pair the point guard with the forward,
Absolutely.
like they had in Cleveland when they actually beat the Warriors. The dominant point guard, healthy point guard with Kyrie, and the dominant wing player.
Right.
I mean, Kawhi's not as good as LeBron James, but he's not far off. I've said before
Yeah.
on this show over the last couple of weeks, I think Kawhi Leonard's the second best player in the league
Oh,
behind
yeah.
LeBron.
Definitely
He's
a
a
top 5
tremendous
player in the
player.
league,
But
Kawhi
everyone's
right now.
forgotten
Tremendous
about
player.
Kawhi
Yeah.
Leonard because he didn't play last year. I'll take Kawhi Leonard over Kevin Durant
Oh,
any,
yeah.
any,
Absolutely.
any day of the week, twice on Sunday. But if you get Kyrie, let's say they trade Terry Rozier,
Right.
Jaylen Brown, And
Jeez.
2019 draft, the Boston Celtics are going to have potentially 2 lottery picks, 3 first-round picks. So you give the two lottery picks, 2019 lottery picks, Jaylen Brown and Terry Rozier. That's kind of a
Right.
trade that helps everyone.
It
Then you're
does
going at
help.
Then you're going up against the Warriors with Horford, Kawhi, Hayward, Kyrie, Tatum. That's quite a 5.
It's quite a 5, but then the bench is another
You might
thing.
as well restart the process.
You have to
with
restart
that
the bench.
5 up in Boston.
Yeah, you have
Give me a
the
break.
5.
You'll still have
Right.
Marcus Smart off the bench.
You'll
You'll still
Smart,
have that Baines
Marcus
goon,
Morris, Aaron Baines.
Morris. And if you have to get new guys like
Right.
that, they're fine.
I
That's
mean,
not that big
but
a
what-
deal.
It's not big of a deal,
What is
but then
Boston?
it's,
What would Boston have? That's really the key question here. What would Boston have to give up? I'll tell you one thing. If you're a Sixer fan, okay, you'd rather the Knicks get him than Boston, for sure. Because
But the Knicks getting him's a pipe dream.
here's the thing about that, and I hear what you're saying, Rob. But you know what? He and his family are from East Orange. As a matter of fact, he's been in East Orange almost all summer, Kawhi. I don't know if you're aware of that, but his family is from there. He would like to play in New York if he can make it happen. His first choice is Los Angeles because he wants to play there.
Well,
but
and
he would
we
like to
throw
play in New York,
Brooklyn in
too.
the mix then. If he's going to play for the Knicks
He
or
could-
the Nets,
Brooklyn would be a team he probably would want to play for too. I would agree with you.
the only way he's on a New
But
York
who-
team is if
but
the
who
Spurs
is-
try and play hardball with him and he walks and the Spurs get nothing
But who would? But
in
who
free
would?
agency.
But who would the Nets? The Nets don't have anybody.
The Nets
to
don't
trade.
have anyone. The Knicks don't either.
right.
They have Porzingis.
That's such a lateral. I mean, yeah, you probably come out on top on that because
Well, don't-
Porzingis is hurt and who
Porzingis
knows.
is. But the thing is,
Would you give Porzingis in 7 for Leonard or 8? What do they have? 9? Right before the Sixers for Leonard?
I would consider it. I would consider it because I think if you get him, okay, I think that would be a gateway to picking up some other players. And next season, they're going to have a lot of money.
All right. We
coming
got
off the
we got him
cap.
flying in on Facebook here. Let's get
Yes,
him on.
we
Dion
do.
Brown, what up, fellas? Dion, always a pleasure to have you. I think he'll
Great
be
talking
in
to you, Dion.
either Boston or LA. I don't really like what the Sixers
You want
would
me to
have
fix that
give
brightness
up.
for you, Brad?
Huh?
You want me to fix that brightness for you?
Get him
just a
squared.
little.
Get him squared
Yeah.
away.
Using
Ralph
my computer.
Delavecchio, he's coming to LA.
Of course.
James Wilder, he's
There we
going
go.
to the Clippers. That's an
There you go.
interesting one that I'll talk about in a second. James Wilder, fuck the Lakers. David Long, probably the Lakers. Lakers have enough money this year for 2 max contract. Plus next year we will have more as well since Deng contract is up. Ralph Delavecchio says that. So he's a Lakers fan.
The resident Lakers fan on AT Radio. Where did you get? Where
Ralph,
did you catch
I
him on
don't
the
think-
fix?
So if the Lakers get him, it's like Brad said, they're going to have Kawhi and probably Paul George or Kawhi and LeBron and then nothing.
See, the thing is, they could get Kawhi, George, and LeBron. That's possible. LeBron's kids are already enrolled in school in L.A. That's why a lot of people are connecting him to L.A. And obviously they've had an interest in Paul George. I mean, is it possible that they get all 3 of them?
I guess it's possible.
And
And that 3 would probably
this
be
way. It's more
that pro-
possible than the Knicks because the
that
Knicks
3 would
won't happen until next year.
probably beat. Would those 3 beat the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals? You don't think so? I think it'd be tight.
I think they give him a battle, but I just don't.
James Wilder from up north says he's going to the Clippers, which is very interesting because the Clippers have 12 and 13 in the first round, 2 lottery picks, and a
Okay.
bunch of DeAndre Jordan, who's a
DeAndre
premier
Jordan is an
defensive center.
outstanding center.
Also just signed a big contract, can make the money match up.
But let me ask you a question: if DeAndre Jordan is going to the Spurs, don't they have Aldridge to play the same position?
Well, you play both of them. You play big men You play.
So you play a Twin Towers offense.
Popovich can play any type of offense he wants.
I guess he can, but I mean, when does a Twin Towers offense ever work, though? I mean, I go back in time
if you
and
watch
look at
the Warriors. If you watch the Warriors play, that's how you potentially can beat the Warriors 4 out of 7 times. You pound them down low.
Yeah,
because their post players aren't up to snuff.
No, that's true. But the Warriors don't really drive to the basket. They're more of an outside run and gun type of team.
That's true.
Don't they need? Wouldn't you? I mean, DeAndre Jordan, is he a good defender outside of outside the restricted area? I'm just asking because I don't know if he is or not. You guys
I'm just
are more,
saying it's damn near impossible to beat the
knowledgeable about
Warriors
that than me.
with the 4 guys that they have. They're 4 max contract players. They fit together perfectly on top of it.
Right.
It's going to be very. I'm just saying.
And they don't have to pay them
if
yet.
you could identify a weakness on the Warriors, it's you pound them down low. They don't have a good.
Right.
Draymond Green can only cover one guy, and he's only 6'8" himself. So Lakers have enough. Deion Brown, I think Anthony Davis goes to Boston, if not Kawhi.
What makes you think New Orleans? And I made this theoretical trade about them going to about him going possibly to the Warriors. But what makes you think they really want to trade Anthony Davis?
Boston has the bullets to get whoever they want. They have 3 potential top 20, 2 potential lottery picks in the 2019 draft.
Who are the lottery picks that they have in the 19 draft?
Well, they'll have the Kings. They have the Kings pick as long as it's not in the top
the Kings,
2.
Okay. They don't have Brooklyn anymore.
They have Memphis's pick as long as it's
They're
outside the top 9.
This year will be the end of the carnage with the Brooklyn
And
Nets.
they have another pick if it's outside the top 15.
Oh, jeez.
So they've assembled a war chest of draft picks thanks to
Danny Ainge
the
the Brooklyn
Nets.
Thanks to Billy
King, worst
Billy
GM
King.
ever.
Yeah.
Deion Brown, I thought Kyrie was going to opt out. Kyrie can opt out after this season, and it sounds like he will to obtain the supermax contract, unless Boston wants to give him a supermax contract. Ralphie, Boston will trade either Brown or Tatum before they give Kyrie and Boston. Before they give away Kyrie and Boston, well, I wouldn't trade Tatum for absolutely anything. That guy is a stud, superstar
He's a real
in the
good
making.
player. He's a
Boston
really good
has
player.
the most ammunition than anybody else. I agree with that. I wouldn't. Jason Tatum is your wing for the next 15 years. I would not trade him at all.
No.
They fleeced the Sixers and got extra picks. That's why they have the Sacramento pick. So you can thank the Colangelos also for the Celtics war chest of draft picks that they can use to get Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard,
mostly
whoever else they want.
Mostly Billy King.
Mostly Billy King, but the Colangelos certainly.
Yeah, they helped.
I mean, and the Lakers. If the Lakers are cool with just going at it with 3 max contract guys, 2 max contract guys, then having a not so good team behind that, then
depending.
Because if the Lakers are the same as the Knicks,
let me ask you a question.
I would be trying to sign Paul George on the open market to play with Kuzma and Lonzo. Maybe they can get Boogie. Maybe they can get Boogie too to play down low.
Didn't they get what's his name from the Cavaliers? The
Isaiah Thomas. He is an unrestricted free agent.
Oh, he's an unrestricted free agent. Okay.
So I don't know how much money he's going to get, but it only takes. You see how NBA contracts work.
Yeah. Do you think that Isaiah Thomas is a guy that people are going to be lining up for? Or you think he's?
I mean, he's proven that he's a bench player because he can't guard anyone. He's under 6 feet tall. He can get to the rack. He can shoot. He can score. He can play.
So he's the kind of guy
very above average offense in the NBA.
So he'll be a star player on a bad team.
That, or he can be a role player on a good team.
I'm kind of thinking star
Brad
player.
Stevens got the most out of him.
Yes,
was able to hide him on defense. However, he did it.
I'll tell you what. That's a guy. Now that's a guy that would look good on the Clippers because you have DeAndre Jordan on the team. So that if somebody does get by him, you still have to worry about the big tree underneath.
It's true.
I mean, if you're gonna have guys that can't guard anybody, you have to have a center who's a defensively dominating type of player. You know,
But
it's a Kembe Mutombo type, a DeAndre Jordan type. That's the kind of player you need underneath if you're going to have a guy like him on the team, if
But-
he's going to be effective.
back to relating to the Sixers, there's a lot of pressure on, and this is why the Colangelo stuff makes me uneasy. There's a
'Cause
lot
you're
of
afraid
pressure.
You're afraid that it's going to
There's a lot of pressure on Brett Brown as an executive now more than ever. This might be the most important offseason in Philadelphia 76ers history. They've been outspoken. The Colangelos, when they were here, said they needed a top-notch wing. Brett Brown said in his exit press conference they need a top-notch wing. There he is in San Antonio. Dario, Covington, and 10. That's where I start. And if I have to give up 26 too, if I have to give up, because the Sixers have 6 draft picks, they have 4 second-round
the
picks.
Sixers are loaded. The
They
Sixers
can't
are loaded with
fit
talent.
all these guys, so they're going to be making moves. They have ammo. After Boston, they probably have the most ammo to trade for a Kawhi Leonard or a big-time player. They have to trade for Kawhi Leonard because if they don't, Boston does, and then you're chasing forever.
That would be a disaster if he went there.
It'd be
I
a
mean,
complete
Boston would be-
disaster for the Sixers.
Especially if LeBron
Because
leaves Cleveland.
not only did you get fleeced by Danny Ainge, you got Fultz instead of Tatum, or Fultz instead of Dennis Smith, however you want to lay it out. Now they get Kawhi on top of it, using some of the picks that they got in the Fultz trade when they moved up.
Yeah, that would.
So that's a huge mistake
well, I'll tell you what.
all
though.
the way around.
The problem is, and you were saying before, you don't think they're going to get San Antonio is going to get top market. I do think they get top market, and you just kind of put it in the way that it's going to happen that way. You're going to have teams lining out the door to try to get him. You know, I made the comment before with the Knicks they could offer Porzingis and their 9th round pick, their 9th pick in the first round. Okay, there are teams that could offer more than that.
There are.
There are. So if I'm looking at that as probably the best offer my Knicks can do, okay, right away that puts the Sixers in a position, well, we've got to outdo that. And then the Celtics would want to try to outdo that. And then there's always other teams that are going to try to outdo that. So you're going to have a situation where you could have a huge bidding war. San Antonio ends up smelling like roses with this, Rob, because you know what? Last year they didn't have them all seasons. They all learned to play together without him, and now they're going to add a treasure chest full of players. Either way, you know, if somehow they get Kawhi to change his mind, I mean, they still don't. Even though he demanded a trade, they still don't have to trade him.
No, well,
the rule, there is no rule.
if
that says
Kawhi's going to force their hand,
he can force their hand all he wants, they still don't have to trade him if they don't want
but
to trade him.
but that's stupid, Brad, because then he's going to play the same games he played this year and then walk in free agency, and they're going to get nothing.
So you think you think he wastes 2
Yes,
years?
Kawhi Leonard will be traded.
But do you think he's going to waste 2 years of his career not playing over this? I mean, God only knows what the.
He's
what the
already signed
implications are.
one max contract before they redid the CBA. He's making $20 million. He's been making $20 million a year. He's a 6-year vet.
Oh,
So,
boy.
like, he's been making, $15, $20 million for the past couple seasons. And then now with the new CBA, he can get more money.
That'll be next year, though.
That'll be next year.
Yeah, that'll be next
Kawhi
year.
Leonard's not hurting for money. And
Oh,
he doesn't
no,
he doesn't
I understand.
he
that.
doesn't like the way that his injury situation was handled by
the Spurs.
the Spurs
obviously.
medical staff, and he doesn't trust them. So whether he's right or wrong, whether the Spurs are right or wrong, doesn't matter. The talent
bottom line.
the talent wants out.
yeah, well,
And
I know
if they don't get anything for him after next season and he just walks,
that would be terrible. For San
that would be
Antonio to do
awful.
that.
That sets you back
But-
10 years.
But again, you're also, I think San Antonio might actually be in the driver's seat in this situation because they still have the talent, and there are a lot of teams out there who will pay a pretty penny for that talent.
Right.
So I
all
mean,
right.
you're not
Oh,
talking
all
about
this tasty pizza for us,
Oh,
Greg.
Big Greg brought us some pizza.
Woo!
What's going on, Greg?
Oh,
All right.
man.
Ralphie, it is possible to get all three of them. LeBron is going to sign his 2-year with an opt-out. Give PG his money. Then in 2019, which is the year after they give Kawhi his money, Kawhi already said he wants to play in L.A. Okay, but all indications are that LeBron James wants to sign the 5-year Supermax deal, which is 5 years, $208 million. That's everything I've read said he's going to get. He wants to play for a max contract and finish out his
But
career.
he's not going to
This
get
is
a max contract unless he goes back to Cleveland. Right?
That's how he can get the most money. But, Brad, we've been over this for
LeBron
months. He's
LeBron
not
has
going
the
to
money.
Cleveland.
No.
He's not staying there.
But LeBron has
Unless
enough
there's a
money.
miraculous way they can do a sign and trade. But why would you do a sign and trade with Cleveland when you know he's not going to sign on the dotted line? He's done with them. He hates Dan Gilbert. He hates J.R. Smith.
They could still do a sign and trade though, so he gets his. I guess so he can get his max money, right?
Maybe. I would put that at a very slim chance. Deion Brown, so where does Chris Paul land? If Kawhi Leonard's not on the Spurs, I would put my money Chris Paul goes to play with Greg Popovich in San Antonio. Then you add Chris Paul into the mix with whatever they get in a trade with Kawhi Leonard, and you got something. This team made the playoffs last year basically without Kawhi Leonard in the West.
Yeah, no.
So
I mean,
they have
still,
good players in there already. So that's my best guess on Chris Paul. I don't know who would give him a 5-year Supermax deal. For me, Chris Paul's not for me.
All it takes, Rob, is
fucking
one
0
dummy.
minutes in Game 7 of the Western Finals. 0 minutes
All
in
it
Game
takes,
7 of the Western Conference Finals.
All it takes is one dummy to do it.
You would have to amputate my legs to play 0 minutes in the Western Conference Finals Game 7. So Chris Paul, he's just not for me. He's not for me. He's not a killer. He's past his prime. He's not worth a Supermax contract.
No. He's not.
So Chris Paul, that would be a pass for me. Maybe he signs on with LeBron since they're buddies. Then Malik Zettatone, hopefully not the Sixers. We don't need him. I mean, if Malik can explain how the Sixers don't need Kawhi Leonard to win a championship, I don't really understand that statement. See, because I bet you Malik is a big. It's not bad. I bet you Malik was a big Sam Hinkie process guy. I bet you he reads analytics all the time.
Could be.
But, you're trying to win championships.
Well, that's what it's about now. I mean, listen, you've gotten to the point where you're a real good.
And I get it. Dario Saric, he's a good player. He's good. Good. He's not a great player. He'll never be a max contract player. For me, if you're unwilling to give up a glue guy for a top 5 player in the league, I mean, I think that's just super flawed logic when you look at how championship teams are built in the NBA in 2018. That's like the people who write on my Facebook wall because I love LeBron. We don't need LeBron. We can just grow the process and win the championship.
No,
eventually.
you can't. You're not when the Boston Celtics
because
are
if the
around.
Spurs,
The Celtics process is ahead of the Sixers process.
it's
right
better. They
They
out
have more.
Hinkied Sam Hinkie without tanking at all.
now. Well, again, because Ainge had the what do you call it? The smartness to go after that big dummy Billy King.
The stupidest GM.
I mean, Billy King basically built the Boston Celtics. And for anybody who wants to trade with Boston, if Danny Ainge calls, I would suggest you all hang up.
And you
Because
know how
he's
I
the
feel
master fleecer.
about professional sports teams trading within their division.
Ugh,
It's
yeah,
the
no,
dumbest
that's-
thing ever.
Yeah, no, that's
You don't
not
do it.
That's something that comes back.
You
to
don't
haunt you.
do it. The Eagles traded on draft day with Dallas one year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree
I
with
believe it
you
was the
about that.
Kevin Cobb. I believe it was the Kevin Cobb draft.
It is
Made
the
my
Kevin Cobb
blood
draft.
boil. I mean, thank God Dallas.
unless-
Thank God Dallas didn't get a Hall of Fame caliber player
But
in that draft. They
let me
drafted
ask you,
Anthony Spencer,
but if it's a guy,
made my blood boil.
but if it's a guy that can walk after the season, is it really that big a deal?
Yes,
Really?
yes, it's
Okay.
principle. It's principle.
If you can improve your team, if you can improve your team more by trading within your division, when you expect that your team's going to be pretty much sunk, I should say, does it really matter who you're trading with? Just wondering,
But I guess the answer's no. But
I mean,
nobody has a crystal ball
No,
and
I know.
knows how these
I agree.
trades are going to work out.
No, you don't. That's the whole problem.
And if you trade with a
Listen.
division rival like the Sixers did with the Celtics, and you're wrong, like it appears the Sixers were,
Then you're
wow, you have Jason Tatum. Not only do you have to cover Jason Tatum for the next 10 years,
and you have
but
to play
having
4
a young
times
player
year.
on the wing like Jason Tatum is gonna, it's gonna attract players like LeBron, like Kawhi Leonard, to come play with you because you have good players
They also
already,
they also have Kyrie too,
and they
which-
won't have to.
They have Kyrie too.
Right.
They're gonna want
But
to come to play
Jason
with him.
Tatum's emergence makes the Celtics way ahead of everyone from a young talent perspective.
Yeah, I know.
Because they weren't wrong about Jaylen Brown.
No.
They were able to sign Al Horford. We'll see what they get out of Hayward. That was a tough break. But
yeah, but he's got all
even
summer
with
to-
Hayward shattering his ankle on opening
but
night
he'll be
and
back
Kyrie
next
Irving
year.
on the shelf, they're still in the Eastern Conference Finals, 48 minutes away from the NBA Championship Series.
That's right. And it really it's
Now you trade a couple of those young pieces.
It took a miraculous effort by one LeBron James to not allow that to happen. I mean, LeBron was a man possessed in those series in the Eastern Conference. And remember, they were also 48. The Cavs were also 48 minutes away from being knocked out in the first round too.
Right.
So,
But that
But-
would never happen. Like
no, it wouldn't.
if
I
he
mean,
had
if they had LeBron,
any semblance of
look,
competent role players
Rob,
in Cleveland.
here's the thing: if you
They don't
can
even
get-
know the score to the game.
if you can get LeBron without having to make a trade, then that's got to be what you do. You don't want to give up any of your talent if you can help it.
And that's the beauty of LeBron. Very
I-
rarely does a player of LeBron's caliber hit
And
the
Paul
open market.
and Paul George, for that matter.
Yeah, but I mean,
Paul George is more of a second wheel. If you're going to compare him to LeBron, he's more of a second wheel. But the two, if you could find a way to
But
to
look
get
at 'em
those
all.
two in there,
look at them all. Look at baseball. Look at football. Look at basketball. Look at hockey. How often does the undisputed best player at that respective sport hit the open market? Whereas, you don't have to trade
Like
for him or give
never.
anything up. It only costs you money. How many times has that happened over the past 25 years?
Never.
Unless we're missing something.
Never. Okay. If you go to baseball, the undisputed best player the last few years has been Mike Trout.
Right.
He's not going anywhere.
No.
Football, Aaron Rodgers, or Tom Brady. You can make the
Right,
argument.
it's a
either way.
quarterback.
Okay.
But even let's take quarterbacks out of it.
Okay.
Reggie
take-
White in the 90s when the Eagles wouldn't re-sign him for whatever reason. Is that like the only time in the four major sports of
yeah,
the past
pretty much that
where the
where
undisputed
the
best
dominant where the completely dominant player is available and gets traded. It's very
So,
seldom.
I don't understand the people that just want to go at it, pound their head against the wall, and just hope these guys develop and then beat the Celtics, because you couldn't beat the Celtics last year. They didn't have Kawhi or Gordon Hayward. You're going to have Jaylen Brown and Tatum a year older. They're not getting any
And
worse.
they're getting better because they're young.
And then they could potentially have the ammo to add Kawhi Leonard. You'll never catch him.
No, nobody will. That's the whole point.
It's very possible.
You've got to stop that. You've got to stem the tide in Boston.
So the Sixers really need to be aggressive here and get Kawhi Leonard in the mix.
Or make sure,
And then
make sure they get LeBron. I see. I would get LeBron first. If they could find a way to get LeBron first, then they could whatever trade they want to
no,
make.
because Kawhi is going to get traded before the draft. Right? Doesn't that make the most sense for the Spurs? So they could potentially get some draft picks for this draft in return?
That's true.
Unless you trade with the Celtics, where they have two
assets.
lottery picks,
They have tangible
potentially
assets,
two
right.
lottery picks,
They have
and
tangible
3
assets
first-round
right
picks.
now, but they have tangible assets to give them they can play right now. You're right. No, you're right. It's going to happen before
Unless the Celtics make the trade, because they can trade their 2019
right,
draft along with young talent.
But when is free agent
July
day?
1st.
July 1st. Okay, so it's the same, but you have the same day the same day in basketball as it is hockey.
But if you make
Wow.
a power move to trade for Kawhi Leonard, you got to think that's going to, when July 1st comes around,
that should entice.
that's
That'll
a
entice-
shocking move to the NBA world. That's going to get
Right.
Paul George's attention, and that's going to
LeBron.
get LeBron's attention for sure.
Yeah, it will.
And then it's on Brett Brown to complete it, because obviously you have to trade to get. Because I don't think they're going to be able to sign LeBron or or Paul George straight.
Problem is with LeBron. I mean, LeBron, it's so unpredictable right now with what he with where he's going to go. I mean, you keep hearing L.A., you keep hearing Houston. You know, you hear Miami, you hear the Sixers.
And you remember back in 2010, nobody was talking about the Heat.
No,
And he ended up going there. So
and-
there could be some mystery team. I thought that
it could be the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics could fit him in. Who are they paying right now other than Kyrie?
Gordon Hayward, they gave a monster contract to. Al Horford makes a lot of money too. But
Do you think they could fit LeBron in that team?
you find a way.
Yeah,
It's LeBron.
Yeah, they could trade guys. They have guys to trade, so. They could,
Let's see.
yeah, that's true. I mean, they
Let's
find
catch
a
up
way.
here. The Sixers need a superstar. Period. That's from Kyle Megger.
Kyle Meager from the Hooligans every Saturday.
Okay,
Brand new show on
a
A2D
newbie,
Radio.
A newbie. So welcome to the family, Kyle. The Sixers do need a superstar. Period. That's an extremely true statement. So clearly he knows what he's talking about. Good job, Kyle. For all the people saying we don't need LeBron, I want to know what they're smoking. I completely agree. Deion Brown agrees.
I think LeBron. I think LeBron is.
Kyle.
LeBron is going to be
They're
the key.
converse.
LeBron's going to be the key to all of this. And your guess is as good as anybody.
If you're the Sixers front office, whether it's Brett Brown solely or there's a team of guys there, you can't let
the season,
the
this
Celtics
offseason,
get
you can't let this
Kawhi
offseason
Leonard.
slip away without making a couple of significant additions. The window is open in Philadelphia as far as the Sixers are concerned. The window is open. If you don't do anything, it's going
if the
to close.
Celtics get Kawhi, and the Celtics might be able to get Kawhi
then the
for
Sixers
less
have
than
to
what
get,
we just talked about, because they
Then-
have so many draft picks
but
and
the
teams.
Sixers then would have to get LeBron. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
they would
If
have
the-
to get
if the
LeBron, and
Celtics-
they'd have to get George.
If the Celtics get Kawhi in a trade,
The
LeBron
Sixers
could
have-
go to the West and have a better chance of beating the Warriors than beating the Celtics with the Sixers.
That, yeah. I mean, the whole thing is, LeBron wouldn't trump Kawhi.
Right, but the
It would
Lakers,
match it
the
would be a
Lakers could
match.
get Paul George and LeBron.
Suppose the Sixers get Paul George and LeBron, and the Celtics get Kawhi.
Well, that's a major conference power shift in the NBA right there.
I mean, yeah. Well, then those
Huge.
two teams, you're going to have two
'Cause
60
that's
win
two of the
teams.
best players in the Western Conference coming east.
Yeah, you'd have two 60-win teams, and they would eventually battle it out for the NBA East opportunity to go to the finals. And it would be like that for the next God knows how many years, because nobody could even approach these two teams. Yeah, until Milwaukee figures out how to get some guys to play with
Milwaukee's a good team. but
Antetokounmpo. I mean,
they have talent. I don't know what they're doing with their coach. I know that they hired Budenholzer. We'll see if he can put all that talent together. But I don't care how good a coach you are. If you don't if the Sixers could potentially add 2 max contract guys and the Celtics trade for Kawhi, Antetokounmpo, as good as he is and how much I like watching him play, it's nowhere near enough.
All I'm saying is the only team that I could see that could try to compete with them would be them if they went out and got some guys to play with Antetokounmpo, however you pronounce his damn name.
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah,
How
right.
can you pronounce all these Russian hockey names and not be able to say Antetokounmpo?
Because it's just
You're
it's
good at the
different.
hockey
Those
names. They're a
Greek
million
names
times
are,
harder. It makes no sense.
I don't know because
You like hockey better.
It's
I get
it's
that.
it's those
yeah.
Greek names. They're always a challenge.
Yeah.
You-
They
you have,
they
you
are.
have Papa Giorgio, you have Papadopoulos, you have Antetokounmpo. It's crazy.
And is
all
that how
these
you
names.
antenna canoe?
It's like Antetokounmpo or something. It's
the Greek. If I just
yeah.
call him the Greek freak,
yeah.
that,
It'll
there you
get the
go.
point.
Yeah.
It'll get the point across.
All I'm saying,
All
now,
right.
let
And
me
those
just
Hawaiian
ask-
names,
and
too.
let me ask you this, and I know nobody ever mentions it because it probably won't happen. But suppose Milwaukee got involved with some of these guys.
Could Milwaukee make a trade for Kawhi?
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
asking.
Woo.
I don't know, but you put
Well, that would be quite a
Oh, boy.
a duo.
if they could find a way to bring in one of these big time players to play with him.
Quickly, my little know how you make up trades in your head and put them on Facebook and everyone screams at you.
Yes, and
my
very hostily.
my sleeper team in the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes is the Chicago Bulls. They have a top 10
Isn't
draft.
Jimmy Butler a free agent this year?
Well, Jimmy Butler's on the Wolves.
But isn't he a free agent now?
No.
I thought he was a free. I read somewhere where he was going to be a free agent after.
No.
this season.
Maybe
No?
in
Okay.
2019.
Oh, okay.
But-
all right.
I don't know. The Bulls have a lot of interesting young talent, and if you put
They're not there
Kawhi
yet.
with Lauri Markkanen,
They're not there yet.
they have some point guards that I like. They have Zach
don't-
LaVine,
I don't
who I
see
like.
That. I don't see that happening. I just don't. They're not there
I don't
yet.
know, but the Bulls need to get themselves in the playoffs.
Oh, they'll try. I'm sure. I just don't know that they have.
If you have Kawhi, Lauri Markkanen, and one of those young point guards, you can get into the playoffs in the East.
just think if you had.
And then you're
Greek-
attractive.
But if you get Kawhi and
Right,
the Greek
it's-
Freak
it's like
playing,
when you
that
said-
would be
it's-
a hell of a.
It's like when you said you put Kawhi on any team in the East, they're probably going to go to the playoffs. Put Kawhi on the fucking Magic, they're going to go to the playoffs. Just like if you put LeBron.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. You're right.
Like if the Magic
right.
signed LeBron, they would go to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose to Boston.
Yeah.
It's just the way they are. Those two guys, along with Durant.
Maybe they beat Boston.
Are
Who
that
knows?
good.
I mean, basically, he did it with Cleveland with nobody
All
else.
right, I want to get to another. I just really hope LeBron says, "Hey, I could be the missing piece in Philly. We would have to make sure that Redick signed." Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That's from Dion, and LeBron is the missing piece in Philly.
Of course. And I was listening on to another podcast owned by some guy who used to be on ESPN, had JJ Redick on the show, and JJ was completely open to either do whatever it takes to get LeBron in a Sixers uniform, even if it's taking a pay cut. So he is going to take one for the team
JJ
to
Redick,
try to get LeBron on.
right, and
on the
JJ
Sixers.
Redick's he's an intelligent guy
Oh, yeah.
and a good player. He knows he's not a $23 million a year player.
Yeah.
They're lucky they had him last
Yeah.
year. They probably wouldn't have gone as far as they did last year
Absolutely.
without him.
And they also have the depth pieces as well to accommodate LeBron, especially if you don't have JJ on the floor, you can rely on Marco Bellinari or Ersan Ilyasova to actually take some shots from the why am I screwing up from the 3-point line.
Right. And then Rob Povia chimes in. I'm assuming he's talking about Kawhi here and not LeBron. He's going to go to L.A. Either LeVar or the Clippers. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Kawhi Leonard. It'll be a circus on draft night if he's traded then. Before we take a break, though, and go exclusively over to YouTube, I do want to talk about the rumors that are surfacing with the Philadelphia 76ers. Apparently, they're trying to move up into the top 5. Looks like they like Doncic from Europe.
Yeah, all right, Luka Doncic.
but they want to move up and get more of an impact player in this year's draft.
That
than
would
they
be
would
interesting.
They would get at 10. Are you guys buying this? Do you think?
I mean, from what I'm looking at, all the mock drafts, Doncic is probably going to stay at the top 5. It'll be some odd miracle.
I mean, Woj says the Mavs are picking Doncic if he's there.
I mean, if the Suns don't take Doncic at 1, which I mean,
everything indicates that they're taking
DeAndre
Ayton.
Even though the Suns did drop some weird hints on Twitter involving changing their name to add some little Slavic marks in their name, but
I mean, whatever they do.
Yeah, whatever they were doing, they were like dropping some hints that maybe they'll take Doncic.
Boy.
But at this point, it looks like the Suns are going to take Ayton at 1. Doncic could be somewhere between 2
I would
to
take
3.
the point guard.
2 to 5.
You don't need a good center.
Right.
And
But looking at the situation for the Suns, I think it actually helps Ayton's case because looking at the center position, you have an aging Tyson Chandler, and then you have Alex Len, who sucks, basically. Other than that, you have somebody who's getting older and probably is going to have his production drop, and then you have a completely unreliable center in Alex Len.
But you can win championships with unreliable centers. I mean, it's a perimeter 3-point AAU run and gun league.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
But I think with the style that the Suns are going to do with the new head coach, you're probably
coaching them now?
I believe they got somebody from. It was actually the coach from the Slovenian national team. I forgot the name.
So there's smoke there with Doncic at 1.
Yeah, there's some suspicion with Doncic at 1, which I mean, it's either going to be Ayton or Doncic at 1, but it could be. It could be a very interesting draft. The top 5 is going to be interesting. We don't know who's going to sneak up, possibly get Mo Bamba at 5. I know everybody's saying maybe the Mavericks will stay put, get Bamba at 5. Some saying that the Celtics might trade up to get Bamba at 5.
Bamba's a beast. I think he's the best. I think him and Marvin Bagley and the kid from Europe are the three best guys in the draft. Jaren Jackson from Michigan State.
Yeah.
I don't get it. A lot of people really think he's like the safest pick in the draft. I don't get it. How are you going to be 6'11" and average 5 rebounds a game?
Right.
That means you're a very soft player.
Does it? And I get he's got a great offensive skill set, and he's 6'11" and he's tall, and he's only 18 years old, so could fill out and develop and be a rebounding machine.
Sounds like another Brooke Lopez.
Why would I take Jaren Jackson when I can get Marvin Bagley, who averaged 21 and 11 in the ACC, a much stronger league, a much more talented player? So I don't get the Jaren Jackson in the top 5 stuff. Maybe he'll fill out and prove me wrong, but if the Sixers can move up and get, I don't care that they haven't beat at center. I don't care that they haven't beat at center. I would still.
Embiid is such a good outside shooter. You could put him on the outside.
I would still, if I could get in the top 5 and grab Mo Bamba, I would. Bagley would be a great compliment to Embiid down low. Then the point guard, because you clearly.
Right.
I'm trying not to bury Fultz because it's only 1 year, but I mean it was bad. It was bad last year.
It was bad.
If you can get the Doncic from
how old is Fultz? 19.
Fultz is 19.
20.
Yeah.
You know, you got to give the guy a chance.
Yeah, it's 1 more year or sayonara to Fultz.
you got to give him another year.
He's got to give you something.
Yeah.
I would think he would. I mean, I don't know what got into his head last year that he was so bad and struggled like that. I just don't know, but you got to give him another year. I mean, there is talent there. Is he playing summer ball, by the way?
Who?
Fultz.
He should be playing summer ball.
He better be. He better be.
I mean, I could check if anything happens with Fultz.
100% should be. He barely played last year.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would think
he's still a rookie. He's still a rookie, in my opinion.
I mean, look, Ben Simmons missed the whole season. He came back and was great last year.
Understood. And if Markelle Fultz wants to do that and play like the first overall pick in the draft next year, I'm all for it.
He was the first pick in the draft last year.
Because I did like him coming out of college.
The guy has talent. Okay, I don't know what the hell happened last year, but for whatever reason, it didn't come out. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have high-end talent. I mean, do you think he's another Okafor? Because that's kind of what you're saying right now. I don't know if he's that. I don't think so. I think the guy was for real. He was a real good college player.
Yeah.
And I don't
he's a
know.
good ball
I don't know
handler.
what
I mean,
extra it's going to take. I mean, is 10 and 26 going to get you Memphis' 4th pick? I have no idea.
I just don't think so. I mean, looking at the situation Memphis got into, I mean, I think they're going to stay put at 4.
The Sixers also have 2 of the top 5 second-round picks,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
They
but
do.
that's second-round picks are not a major.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
Unless if you're a team that wants to trade into the trade in, I mean, if the Sixers want to trade into the first round again to get a third first rounder, I mean,
but the trend is that these premier college players that don't get picked in the lottery, they don't go to the second round because these good teams at the end of the first round, they draft and stash from Europe.
yeah.
And the Sixers drafted a guy last year that they're
They had 2 last year. They had
Jonah Bolden. He's
Jonah
playing
Bolden.
in Israel, and they're trying to bring him over.
Yeah,
But
I know he was making an appearance in the States earlier this week, Jonah Bolden. So he's probably going to be around for the summer league, and there's a very good possibility he might be on the Sixers main bench come September, October. And then Pashineks, from what I was looking at, the Latvian player, I think he's probably going to play at least one more year in Spain just to see if he's developing a little more. I know he was very raw last year during the summer league play, so I think he's probably going to stay around, see how he does in summer league, have him back in Spain for another season, and then see where he's at, and then see if he's worth the investment on bringing him into Philly the following year. But I mean, I don't even know what they're going to do with the 26. I hope they get somebody that's ready to play this year, but I mean, we'll see.
I mean, I like Kevin Herter from Maryland in that spot. He did just have he had surgery today on his hand, and he's going to be out 2 months. But I mean, that's fine.
I know people are also saying, oh, they can get a Dante DiVincenzo as well.
At 26?
At 26.
All indications are he's going to be not available at 26.
Yeah, some people are saying that.
I read a mock draft. I forget it was Draft Express or Hoops Hype that had him going 17th to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, DiVincenzo could go anywhere.
So
yeah,
he's looking like he's going to be a top 20 pick. And
yeah,
if he's a top 20 pick, good for him. I mean, I wouldn't go back to Villanova either if I was a top 20 pick.
I mean, I know some of the other players that are somewhat around there. I'm looking at some of the names right now.
I like Mo Wagner. From the Michigan, the big guy.
I know they were pretty high on Kyrie Thomas.
Kyrie Thomas has all the makings to be a premier defender, perimeter defender. I don't know how he's going to translate offensively, but he can guard people off the bench. I think he'll be able to guard people off the bench.
And then
you
Landry
can get him
Shamet,
with one of those picks in the second round. That's a great pick.
Landry Shamet,
I don't
another
know
one from
much
Wichita
about
State.
that. Wichita State wasn't very good.
Ilya Kobo, that was another one they were looking at.
I don't know anything.
Some of the other
I don't know
names.
much about him.
But then I know recently on their Facebook they were talking about like adding some extra players. Like I know they were working out Grayson Allen as well in the second round.
He can shoot.
Yeah.
You want shooters. I mean, especially if LeBron comes to town. You can
Well,
never have enough shooters
they
if
have
you have
a
LeBron
lot
in the mix.
they have
And
a lot
Simmons
to their
for that
I think
matter.
unquestionably right now the whole season next year for the Sixers hinges on what LeBron decides to do.
Absolutely. And then if they stay at 10, which is probably the most likely scenario, I don't see how they get – because I don't want them trading up to the top 4 or 5. I'd rather trade for Kawhi.
Right.
You know?
But then
I think that's
the big problem
I think
is
that's a backup plan.
with Kawhi, he still has like another year in the contract. So is it worth the 1 year? And then if everything goes well for the Sixers with Kawhi, what happens if Kawhi
Well, I don't
walks?
see how you turn down a 5-year, $208 supermax contract from the Sixers when you have Simmons and Embiid.
Right.
Embiid, who's already signed his long-term contract, his 8-year,
And
whatever
Simmons already has
$146 million
Simmons has
deal.
4 years left on his rookie contract.
And Simmons is still on his rookie contract.
Or is he has 3 years left? I guess he has 3, right?
I guess he has 3.
Yeah, all right. So
I don't know how it works.
He has 3 years left on his rookie contract.
He still got paid when he was hurt.
Yeah.
NBA contracts are guaranteed, so he's got 3 years left.
He's got 3 years left on his rookie contract. So, I mean, for LeBron, if LeBron wanted to do that, I mean, he's got this core, and they're a nice young core. And you know what? If LeBron signs there, you still have enough money to attract a Paul George. So, I mean, even if Leonard does end up going to Boston, if you get both of them,
you can't let that happen if you're the Sixers.
I understand that, but
you can't.
Rob,
Right.
if you retaliate with retaliate, that's probably the
Yeah,
wrong word.
that's
If
what
you
it is.
retaliate,
Yeah.
That's what the NBA offseason
Okay,
is. It's
if
all
you
out
retaliate-
war to
if you
try and get the
retaliate-
most max players on your
Okay,
team as you can so you can beat the Warriors.
If you
maybe.
retaliate with LeBron and Paul George, okay, you've won the off-season war. You've won
Maybe.
No, you have. You have. You've won the off-season war.
Are you talking about? You're talking about if LeBron and Paul George come to the Sixers.
Right. Kawhi ends up in Boston. You've won the war.
Can you beat this?
Yeah, you can. With those guys, you can. Remember one thing, okay? All
I
these
guess
guys,
I don't think that's a
Boston-
guarantee.
But Boston is Boston kind of more of a team that it's the sum are greater than the parts. Sort of, a little bit.
What does that mean? What?
The sum is greater than. In other words,
Okay.
they've got some talent, but they play so well together as a team that the sum is
Doesn't
greater.
matter. Brad Stevens is the Bill Belichick of the NBA.
Yeah, but he still hasn't won a championship yet.
Okay. you
He's
trot
getting
out
closer. He's getting
Kyrie
closer.
Irving, Gordon Hayward, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford as your starting 5.
That's pretty good.
Is that a better starting 5 than Simmons, LeBron, George, Saric, and Embiid? I don't know. I don't think that's guaranteed that the Sixers are better.
I think the Sixers have. I think that's a better starting lineup for the Sixers. Don't forget, the Celtics, if they do get him, are not getting him for nothing.
Right, but you're giving up bench players for him.
Who, the Celtics?
Right.
They're not going to give. San Antonio is not going to have
Terry
to take.
Rozier and Jaylen Brown are bench players if the
But they
Celtics
don't
are
have to-
healthy.
But they don't have to take guys like that. They can get better players than that. For
But they're
Kawhi.
starting caliber players. They just happen to be on the bench in Boston because they have max contract talents at those 2 positions.
Suppose they asked for Tatum.
That would be a straight up trade, in my opinion. Tatum for Kawhi.
Okay.
I wouldn't be giving up anything extra if I was Danny Ainge for Kawhi Leonard. Tatum for Leonard would be.
Here's the thing, Robin, and again, I hear what you're saying, but what we don't know is, and again, this is all in theory. We don't know what other teams are offering, and if Boston is all in and they will stop at nothing to get this guy, maybe it'll cost them more than that. I mean, who the hell knows what other teams are offering? That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't really know,
And you don't really know how.
and you don't know if Kawhi really wants to go there either. Maybe he doesn't want to go to Boston. You know, he's kind of a strange kind of guy. Who knows where he wants to go?
He's doing his best to dictate
right.
his future.
He wants to go to L.A. That's what it sounds like to me. He also would like to go to New York.
Could you imagine it? Could you
but I
imagine if
don't think either
LeBron?
the Knicks
Could you
are-
imagine if LeBron did this? Sat out a
Oh.
whole season and then tried to dictate his,
yeah,
where he played next year via
LeBron
trade.
would be LeBron. Would
The internet
be
would break.
crucified. He'd be crucified. But I mean, all I'm saying is, he would like to be in New York too. But I just after what you're saying, okay, I don't think Porzingis in the 9th pick in the first round is going to do it, and the Knicks don't have anybody else that San Antonio would even want.
All right, we got to take a break.
So-
We're going to see what's going on Thursday. Sixers pick 10th. The Knicks pick 9th. A lot of guys getting traded. After the break, switching over exclusively to YouTube, we're going to get into Phil Mickelson, his controversy at the U.S. Open, and there was a big baseball trade that went down right before we went on the air. We'll get into that.
And we are going to kill a certain general manager, by the way.
Well, he's the easiest one in the world to kill.
Yeah.
Find out who it is. Find out what went down on the Sports Hounds right after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, back. Sports Hounds, A2D Radio, Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vespi producing, taking you to 10 o'clock, exclusively on YouTube now. Check out the A2D page, my Facebook page, Brad's Facebook page, or the link. But U.S. Open, paging Mike Parker, Garage Talk Live, talking about golf for a few minutes here. Brooks Koepka goes back-to-back. First time anyone's gone back-to-back in the U.S. Open since 1989-1990. Curtis Strange did it. Unbelievable accomplishment.
Good for him.
Good for him. Unbelievable accomplishment. Looks to be a superstar player. Phil Mickelson finished plus 16, way out of contention, but that's all anybody wants to talk about. He hits a moving ball for a two-stroke penalty on Saturday, where the course was really an unfair setup. When you have top 10 players in the world missing putts by inches and they roll off the green to 50 feet away, that's a ridiculous. That's a ridiculous setup.
That was.
But Phil hits a moving ball, gets a two-stroke penalty, breaks Twitter, breaks golf, ruined the game of golf according to some. Should have been disqualified. Should have been withdrawn.
In England, he was called an ass in the paper.
I mean, he looked like an ass. He looked like an ass because of where his standing was in the tournament. But for anyone who wants to fault Phil Mickelson for trying to use a two-shot penalty to his advantage just doesn't understand gamesmanship and competitiveness. He should not have been disqualified. He should not be kicked off the tour. What he did was not a disgrace to the game of golf.
He took advantage of a rule.
Let's say he's in contention because he's plus 6 to start Saturday.
Okay.
If he put up a 66 like Finau and Berger did, he's in the final group on Sunday. He might even be leading going into Sunday based on how the course played as the day went on. Let's say he's put, I don't know, I think it was the 13th hole. I think that's a par 4. Now, suppose that's a par putt that he hits, and he hits it, misses, and he realizes it's going to roll 60 feet away off the green to the point where he's going to have to chip and can't putt anymore. Let's say he makes the redirection. That's a 4. Ultimately, plus 2 is a 6, a double bogey. You can recover from that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If the ball rolls off the green 60 feet away, you're probably not going to get up and down on that course.
No, you're done.
So taking a 2-stroke penalty there,
that's just smart.
He probably saved himself strokes. He looks like a sourpuss because he was not in contention. He could have gotten
a 10 or a 12 on that hole
easily.
Yeah,
with how that course was set up.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know if any of the people in the chat are golf fans that want to chime in, but people who think he should have been disqualified or withdrawn or should be kicked off the tour or disgrace the game of golf, they need to grow a set and get a life.
Well, that's the one thing I can't stand about golf is just this hoity-toity crap. It drives me nuts. You know, in tennis too. It's like, come on already. You know what? Big deal. Big deal. You know, I see in tennis when a guy throws his racket and everybody is appalled. But let me tell you something. If you play tennis, okay, if there's a game or a match that you play and you don't toss your racket in the air at least once, I mean, you obviously would catch it, but if you don't toss it and then catch it because you're disgusted about something, then you're just not a competitor. And the same thing goes for golf. You do whatever you have to do. Okay? I
agree. And I'm all about gamesmanship, gaining an advantage on your opponent. I mean, maybe more players should have done that in their Saturday round.
Maybe they should have.
Maybe different guys would have been in the mix when it came to Sunday, where they actually set the course up in a fair way, where you were rewarded for making good shots.
Maybe just playing smart.
What do you mean?
Maybe some of these guys on Saturday, when they realized how difficult the course was, maybe a little bit more course management should have been done, instead of some of these guys going directly for the shots.
I mean, it was an impossible setup.
No, I understand
it was an
that,
impossible
but
setup.
if it's so impossible, how come Dustin Johnson?
Right, he shot a 77 on Saturday.
Yeah, but how come he was able to do well the first 3 days?
Well, it was different. It was a different setup.
Yeah, and then they also didn't they water the greens on Friday?
They wore the greens Friday. The pin placements on Saturday is what the players had beef with.
Well, that's what all the players had. Yeah. Because if you missed on some holes, the ball rolled down the hill, and then they had 30,
you could be a
putts.
yard off of a perfect shot, and you make a 7 because it rolls 50 yards off the green. That's wrong. That's not.
Well, I agree.
That's too hard. I get you want to make a statement, and you want the U.S. Open to be difficult and be a grind, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
For you to be a yard or two off from a spectacular shot and be penalized to the point where you're going to make a double or triple bogey, that's wrong.
That's why they fixed it a little bit on Sunday.
Right. And guys still made big numbers on Sunday. You still had to be extremely precise, but you were still rewarded.
But some guys missed some easy shots all day.
Well, that's
Sunday.
why Dustin Johnson didn't win the golf tournament. He missed too many short putts.
Yeah, I mean he was missing. He missed I think 4. He missed 4 makeable.
Right, and he shot a 77 on Saturday with 38 putts. 38 putts. That's like what I would do if I went out and played at my local municipal course. Right. Not a U.S. Open course. 38 putts. That's a lot.
That's a lot of putts.
A lot of putts.
Yeah, that's due to the ridiculousness of how they set up those pins. I mean,
so almost half of his shots were putts.
Yeah.
On Saturday, that's not going to get it done at the U.S. Open.
No. And the competition, the way it is right now, there's so many really, really good golfers. There's really not a dominant golfer. And Tiger Woods, Rob. Got to ask you about Tiger Woods. Is this guy ever gonna be competitive in a major again?
Yes, he had a horrendous first day. He shot +8 on the first day. He's only +2 on his Friday round. He ended up missing the cut by 2 strokes. But if he shoots +6 on Thursday in the first day, then shoots +2, he makes the cut. And then if he goes out there and puts up a 66 or a 67, he's in one of the final groups Sunday, the way it played out.
Well, let me ask you this.
He's not that far off.
From what I'm hearing about him, his back is so bad that the problem is his iron shots and his wood shots. He can't get the torque on his swing.
Well, his iron shots and his wood shots have not been Tiger Woods' problem. His problem has been his putting.
Okay, all right. Because that was the big hoopla on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard a lot of interviews regarding Tiger
The last
Woods,
tournament he played, his back
saying.
flared up on Thursday, and he ended up not shooting that good of a round.
Okay,
but
so
he still made
that's why the concern. That's why everybody was saying that.
Right, and the way his back is fused. He's had so many back surgeries. He's got a bad back. His back can tighten up at any time.
But with his posture and everything, is it possible that he just will never really have the same swing he used to have?
Yeah, will never be the same player he was, but
yeah. I mean,
he's got to reinvent himself.
Yeah,
like veterans in MLB, or he's got to reinvent himself. He's got to make putts. He's not making putts right now.
Yeah, so the long game, you don't have to necessarily have the long game to be a great golfer. You've got to have the short game, and Tiger did not have the short game. So, hopefully for the sake of golf. Not that golf necessarily needs him, because golf seems to be doing fine without him winning, but it sure be nice to see him have a couple of vintage Tiger days and go up against some of these young kids.
It'd be great for the sport.
It would be. I mean, I hope it happens.
It will.
I hope so.
Whether he wins a major or not, I'm not sure, but he'll definitely win again on the PGA Tour.
I don't think Jack Nicklaus has to worry anymore. I think his record's going to be safe.
Yes, unless some guy that we've never heard of comes along and breaks it. Tiger Woods will not break that record. Moving on to baseball.
Okay.
Phillies had a good weekend, Brad.
They really did. You know what?
They went up to Milwaukee. They won 2 of 3.
After getting bitch slapped in Philly, and then a horrendous performance on Friday night. What did they lose? 12-1, 13-2, something like that.
Not good.
Okay, to come back and win those last 2 games in Milwaukee. You know what? I got to tell you, they showed me something. That was really impressive, because you know what? When a team beats your brains in like that, you don't usually see a team come back and then win the next 2 games. I'll tell you what, Rob, if this was last year, they would have gotten swept.
I agree. They're better than they were last year. Now Herrera and Hoskins are starting to hit. But right before we went on the air, we both got alerts on our phone. All-star closer Kelvin Herrera of the Kansas City Royals was traded to the Nationals.
What? That's Matt Klentak.
Where is Klentak on that?
What are you doing?
But
how do you
I don't understand. They finally sent Hector Neris down to the minors, to AAA, to where he fucking belongs, quite frankly.
How do you let the Washington Nationals load up?
Everyone knows the Royals stink. They're rebuilding. Kelvin Herrera is going to be on a new team. You had the roster spot open. You made the roster spot. You sent Neris down, and you had a roster spot.
But everybody knew Kansas
Trade
City
whatever
was gonna
minor
trade
leagues
him.
they want. Sure up the back end of that bullpen.
They wouldn't have. And, it's not like they would have had to give up a Gleyber Torres to get him either.
Not at all.
I mean,
the fact that we don't know what prospects went from Washington to Kansas City, at least not yet, at least not when I checked,
okay, well,
what they got in return on the break.
We'll find out.
Sure,
but
we'll
it's
find
not
time.
They're not going to be.
But if it was a big-time prospect, we'd already know about it.
Yeah, It would be the talk of the. It would be the talk of the internet.
So they got
right
marginal proprospects for Herrera in a huge position in need, not only for this year but going forward.
And you look.
He's an all-star closer. He has 14 saves on a bad team,
and
105 ERA.
Also, remember this is.
And Klentak, sitting on his fucking hands,
guy
lets him go to the division-leading Washington Nationals. It's a joke. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
This guy also is a battle-tested world champion who played on the Kansas City Royals when they were a championship team. What are you doing, Matt? How do you let this? How do you? I mean, come
To
on.
a division rival, nonetheless.
Come on. What are you doing?
It
takes this guy. It takes this guy just 60,000 punches to the face and to the gut before he actually does something.
You have Jake Arrieta.
Jake
you're
Arrieta.
paying.
We sat there.
I hate Jake Arrieta. He's so washed up. He is so washed up. He is not the player he was in Chicago.
We all were beating him up.
He calls out rookie. He calls out his teammates when he's making bad pitches. It's a joke. Jake Arrieta is so washed.
Win a game.
And then he goes out. He was the starter in the 13-2 massacre. There were 2 errors, but still, you're making ace money.
He's Jake Arrieta. He should be. You know what? 2 errors should not cause a 13-run game.
And you're going to call your teammates backing you up in the field, and then you're going to pitch like that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Not. I am so not a fan of Jake Arrieta.
He needs
I don't think there's a Philadelphia athlete. Well, there are Philadelphia. We've had some straight mutts over the years, but
yes, we have.
He's on that list for. He's at least on my list for that.
Well,
he's the first Philly on that list for me.
I don't know.
Where
if he's on the list yet.
just snap of the fingers. I was on him. He was good. I liked him. Liked what he brought to the table. Then he had that press conference, and now I'm not. Now I'm out. I'm out.
Well, let's.
I don't care if he wins the Cy Young. I'll never be a fan of him again. He's
know.
completely lost my respect. He's probably lost the respect of his teammates, calling out a rookie playing out of position in Scott Kingery.
The other problem.
Gabe Kapler doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Why in the world would
your manager needs to sit him down and tell him to shut the hell up?
But
that's the
let's
other
look at the manager though, and I for the life of me, I don't know how this team's 5 games over 500. I have no idea.
Do you know that his shifts are the
worst in baseball?
Shifts in baseball
By far.
I mean,
it's a joke, Brad.
I mean, that means that he just shifts all the time without any regard to who the hitter is.
He has a superb Gold Glove caliber shortstop that came off the DL. And he decides to keep Kingery, who's never played shortstop, probably since high school, at shortstop, and platoons Crawford at third base. That makes no sense.
Why wouldn't he put Kingery at third?
That would be the logical person.
I know, they have Franco there. But
Franco's not doing it. Franco hit a home run.
Franco's been
He hit a home run on Sunday, but, I mean.
Franco, listen, with all honesty, they need to trade Franco.
Franco's not the future at third base.
No, but Franco.
For this team.
But Franco has not been bad this year, and while
but he hasn't been good either.
Yeah, but he's got 8 home runs.
That's not like.
I understand that, but still, if he's on pace to hit 18 home runs, okay.
That's not enough from your third baseman in the National League where you don't have a DH.
But there are some teams that would be considered an upgrade. I'll give you a perfect example. Can you spell St. Louis? Who I think Jed Jurko is playing third base. Okay?
I mean, if you can trade Maikel Franco to the Cardinals, I'll drive him there myself.
All I'm saying is, there are teams in the National League who could use a third base. He would be an upgrade. He'd be an upgrade in San Diego. Oh no, he wouldn't be an upgrade in San Diego. I'm wrong. Their third baseman is really good, Villanueva. So I'm wrong. My apologies, folks. My apologies.
But like we're dismissing Franco. I mean, Carlos Villanueva. Like who's that guy?
Villanueva. He's a pretty good player.
Whatever his name is.
Charlie Villanueva.
I know he's got a bunch of home runs this year, but so that guy's gonna come out of nowhere and be better than Franco. He's not long for this town. Everybody knows it. The fact that he's in a platoon with a Crawford says it. And I don't know how this team is 5 games over 500. I don't know how.
Because, you know what, at times, their pitching has been very, very good.
It's true.
And
Pavetta's tossing a gem right now. They're beating the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, but at times, their pitching has been really, really good. They've got an outstanding ace, definitely a top 10 pitcher in the National League.
Yeah.
Maybe is in the top 10 of all of baseball.
You might be right. Guy's a horse.
Yeah, no, he's a superb pitcher. And the more I watch him, the more I like him. I mean, he's really a legitimate solid ace. But the more there have been times when you've seen guys like Pivetta and Eflin really step up, and for that matter, Velasquez, we've seen times where they've put together 2, 3, 4 good starts in a row. Problem is that these guys have been very streaky this year. And same thing goes with Arrieta. Arrieta's had some good starts, and then he tails off. The pitchers have to be a little bit more consistent. The hitters, it's been the same thing. The hitters seem to be up and down, and it would be really interesting to see the Phillies if all these hitters started getting hot, and because I do not think at all that the Phillies have played up to their potential yet. I really don't. I don't think that they have actually had a streak where they have put it all together.
Well, Hoskins
offensively
is starting to be a 4-hitter again.
He's starting to. Okay, but you haven't seen the best of Rhys Hoskins yet this year.
Not at all.
Okay?
You won't see the best of Rhys Hoskins until maybe next year, the year after.
You've seen but I'm
He's a
talking
young
about
player.
but for this season, I think you're going to see a lot better out of Rhys Hoskins. I think you're going to see another hot streak with Odubel Herrera.
He's on one right now.
I think, but we have to. But what I want to see out of the Phillies, I want to see Hoskins and Herrera hot together.
That's how they got to be 5 games over 500.
Okay, they need.
And that's
to be
what's
hot
happening
together.
now over the week. That's what happened over the
Right,
weekend.
But they need to be hot together over a sustained length of time.
I agree.
And if you can get them hot together for like a month, okay, then they can put themselves in a position where in the end of July, we could start talking about maybe trying to bring over some of these top pitchers that are on the market, and really, really put the clamps on and try to do something this year. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, and I've talked about this with the Yankees too, Rob. You've got some guys out there who might be traded. You've got a guy like Jake DeGrom, who is having an unbelievable season with a team that just doesn't hit a lick in the New York Mets. And Syndergaard is in the same position because he's also a solid pitcher. He's not as good as DeGrom, but he's a really good pitcher. Then you look at a guy like perhaps Madison Bumgarner. I, for one, think the Giants are going to be falling on their faces. Evan Longoria is now out for, 2 months now?
Yeah, he broke his finger.
Yeah, I mean that team has been a 500 or under 500 team pretty much all season, and now they're missing a very important player in their lineup. I can't see them hanging around. I just don't think they're a good team. They're old, and old teams do get injured, and they do fall apart in the second half of the season. I'm looking for the Giants to possibly look to unload a guy like Bumgarner. Also, then you have the Toronto Blue Jays, who have a guy like Jay Happ, who's 37 years old, but he's having an outstanding season right now. He really is. I mean,
Cole Hamels in Texas as well.
Cole Hamels too. Cole Hamels is 3-6, but you know what? He's pitched better than that. I mean, Texas, for whatever reason, it just seems like when he goes out there, they don't score for him. We could probably look at a few other pitchers. I mean, Clayton Richard on San Diego, he might be a guy that somebody goes after. Brad Hand on San Diego, for sure. He's another one. How valuable would a real good lefty in the bullpen be? And again, I'm not just talking about the Yankees. I'm talking about the Phillies. These are guys.
A good lefty in the bullpen is valuable to 30 teams in the Major League Baseball.
If you don't think the Phillies should be looking at Brad Hand right now, how good would he be on the Phillies in the bullpen as the closer right now? I mean,
very good.
He would answer a lot of questions, and I think he.
I don't know where Neshek is.
I would forget about Neshek.
Honestly,
Brad
I
Hand,
think you're right.
Brad Hand could definitely help them. I mean,
Neshek is supposed to be, one of the main guys in this bullpen. Then thank God you have Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's stepped up.
Yeah, but
it can give you multiple innings. Then you have no closer, and then. Now the Nationals just have an embarrassment of riches. They just have an embarrassment of riches in their bullpen.
The Nationals now have Sean Doolittle and
Herrera at the back end,
the back end,
and Ryan Madsen, who just let up his first home run of the season yesterday.
Yeah, I mean that's a good bullpen.
And Phillies fans should know all about how good Ryan Madsen can be and how valuable he can be when he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's having a good season if he just gave up his first home run.
And why
on June 17th?
I guess my bigger question is, why are you allowing a team from Washington to spend more money than you? Why are you doing that, Philly? I mean, I don't get that.
It's very frustrating. That's a very frustrating turn of events.
And
you got to get involved. You're 5 games over 500, and I don't think they honestly have much talent. They have a couple guys who are. You have Hoskins, Herrera, and Nola. Dominguez looks like a piece you can build with.
Still,
Alfaro I like behind the plate.
They're still, I believe, a top 10. They still have one of the top 10 farm systems in baseball right now. I mean, that's the last time I looked, I think they were number 6. So I mean, a lot of the guys are up already, but I mean, they have guys that they could trade and bring over some players. I think they need to do that. I think the fans of Philadelphia deserve that. I think the players on this team deserve that. I think they have shown enough that Matt Klentak should be out there trying to improve this team. The fact that he doesn't is just utterly ridiculous. How do you allow, first of all, are you asleep at the wheel that Kelvin Herrera that the Royals would make him available this early in the season? I mean, he has to be asleep at the wheel. Do you not do your due diligence? Do you not make the phone call to Kansas City to find out what's going on? I mean, Kansas City's going to trade him. Hell, they're going to trade Mike Moustakas.
Probably.
He's. I mean, and I know the Phillies don't need a third baseman. I'm just.
Yes, they do.
Making a point. Do you think they do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he'd be another one that. I mean, he signed a 1-year deal. That's a guy you want to make a phone call.
Yeah.
About. Okay. I mean, come on, guys. What are you doing? I mean,
because I think Matt Klentak and Andy McPhail, they're in fantasy land that they're just going to flash a bunch of money at Harper or Machado or both, and they're just going to,
Well, I'll tell you what.
Come here, no questions asked. 30 teams are going to be offering those guys a boatload of money.
My honest opinion about Bryce Harper, I think he stays in Washington. As much as I think either he goes to Chicago to play with his buddy Chris Bryant, or he's going to stay in Washington.
I don't understand.
I don't think he's going to the Yankees. I don't think he's going to L.A. I think all this conjecture. I wish he would go to the Yankees, but I don't think he's going there. I think he's going to stay in Washington.
He might.
And this guy that they
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto. Holy crap, is that guy good? He hit a shot. He hit a shot today against Chad Green in the when they finished the suspended game. I mean, that was a bomb. And last week he hit 2 bombs against the Yankees. I mean, that guy is a stud.
And they have a guy named Victor Robles who's right behind Soto, who's
so
just
I
as
hear.
good.
He's
just
one of
as
the
good
top-
as Soto.
He's
So
one of
they
the top,
say.
He's one of the top prospects in MLB right now. I mean, the Phillies need to get their asses in gear. Okay? Plain and simple. The Washington Nationals have improved their ball club. Okay?
They are undoubtedly the
Talent-wise-
stone cold lock to win the National League East now.
I'm going to tell you something. If you look at it logically, okay, Washington basically, for the first half of the season, has basically played with half their team.
Well, exactly right. Adam
Okay.
Eaton's come back and is hitting. Daniel Murphy's going to be back.
Daniel Murphy just came back, but he can't play second base yet. He's been a DH and he's played first base a couple of times. Okay, he's just back. I think Turner and Rendon both have had injuries. Right now, Strasburg is out. Scherzer's healthy. No, he's not healthy. Scherzer's out too, isn't he?
I don't think so.
No, I thought something. I thought he had to miss a start with some. Maybe I'm wrong.
He's
But,
lost his last 2 starts, which
Okay, he's lost his last 2 starts, but
never happens.
okay, yeah. Well, if you get shut out, I mean, what did he lose? 2-0 to the Giants.
And
That's a real embarrassment. He gave up 9. He
not
pitched
to
a
mention,
complete game and gave
not
up
to
2
mention
runs.
the Braves, who are leading the East right now,
And the Braves are a good team. And you know
42 and 29.
what? Trust me when I tell you this.
The
Rob.
Nationals' run differential is plus 48, with not even their haven't really clicked yet.
Well, Bryce Harper made a comment on the Yankee pregame today. Okay, that basically we've been playing with half our Syracuse team in the first half, and we're still there, and now we're getting guys back. So he expects a run. Now
But-
Bryce is only hitting about 218, so he needs to start hitting for average as well.
And Bryce Harper's numbers are is he going to hit 330 like he did when he was MVP?
No,
Probably not.
but
No
he'll
one
hit
hits 330 anymore.
No, but he'll hit 250, 260, and he'll have 35 to 40 home runs. He'll have over 100 RBIs, and that's really when it comes down to a guy like him. That's really all that matters.
And then now, any time that they have a lead going into the 7th inning, the game's over. It's a 6-inning game with them.
No, it's a 7-inning game. Yeah, you're right. Because you know what? In the 8th, you're going to have Herrera and Doolittle.
Well, I'm throwing Madsen in there as well for the
He's
7th.
not quite as automatic as those two, but
Pretty
he's
odd-
pretty
he's-
good. He's pretty good, and I'll tell you what. The biggest weakness over the last couple of seasons with the Washington Nationals has been their bullpen.
Not anymore.
But now it's a strength. And you know what? Shame on Klentak for ignoring that. I mean, I can excuse Cashman because, you know what? I don't think the Yankees really need another right-handed pitcher.
No,
in their
well, they
bullpen.
need a starting pitcher.
They need a starting pitcher or a lefty, a good left. They could use a good lefty in the bullpen. Brad Hand would be a nice pickup for the Yankees, by the way.
And Kel
but-
Herrera's a
but
righty.
Herrera would have been a great move for the Phillies. Brad Hand is still out there. Matt Klentak, if you're looking at Zach Britton and you're hoping Zach Britton comes back,
Kelvin Herrera
okay,
is
Zach Britton has never pitched in a big game. Kelvin Herrera was on a World Series champion. He retired the Mets in the bottom of the ninth inning, in the top of the ninth inning in Game 5 to win the World Series. It was the bottom of the ninth inning.
they won at home. I don't remember. If they
I
won
don't.
at home
I think
or
they
not.
won. They won in New York.
Whatever.
So
we get the point. Yeah.
The point is, the guy got a save to win the World Series. Okay, that guy is a proven world champion. What has Zach Britton done other than get hurt all the time? And you know what? He hasn't been all that great in his first 2 games back, and he wasn't very good last season either. So if you're waiting for Zach Britton, I don't know about that. I think that's foolish at this point. I think he
Well,
missed
I mean,
an
one guy
opportunity.
tore his Achilles in the offseason and one guy didn't.
Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
hello. And
Yeah.
the Royals are 22-49 going into today.
And by the
22
way-
and 49.
and by
You
the
don't
way-
think they're going to be sellers?
Oh, and by the way, Moustakas is going to be next.
Probably.
You know, and
That's
they'll be
another glaring hole.
yeah, and that
Even if that's just a rental to try and make the playoffs.
which
You got to
means
get involved. You
which
got to get
means-
involved. You
you know what
can't
that
sit on
means?
this money
you'll-
your whole tenure
which
in
means-
the Philadelphia market.
which
You
means
can't
it'll
do
take,
it.
Which means it'll take a very low A prospect.
Probably
maybe
not
an A.
much. You're absolutely
yeah,
right.
It'll take a single A, maybe an A plus, an A plus. You know, there's 3 levels of single A.
yeah.
So it might be the 3rd level of single A. You may have to give up a good player from your single A pool, but for God's sakes, do something to improve the team. The team, you know what? This team has the potential to be something, okay? These guys, you are at least seeing potential out of Nick Pivetta. You are seeing potential out of Zach Eflin. You're seeing potential out of Vince Velasquez. And you know what? Obviously, Nola is a top-tier pitcher. Okay, we've already been through that. Arrieta has been a little has been banged around a little bit his last couple of starts, but Arrieta's a pro. He'll get it going again. You know, this team.
I hate Jake Arrieta.
I understand that, but he's still a pro, Rob, and you gotta remember that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd be shocked.
calling out teammates after you pitch bad and cause the team to lose.
well, you know what? He had
That's not pro-like in my opinion.
no, he had.
I hate Jake Arrieta.
He had a David Wells moment, but you know what? He's also.
He's not even good anymore.
But you know what? He's
Jake
also
Arrieta
capable
is
of-
washed up. He's washed up.
He's had some.
And if he keeps pitching the way he does for an extended period of time,
well, then he's
Phillies
gonna,
are going to drop in the standings because they really need him to pitch well every 5th day.
Oh, absolutely. They
Because
need him to be-
Velasquez, he has his moments of brilliance, but other times he looks
Same with Pivetta
same with Pivetta
and same with Eflin.
and same with Eflin.
They're up and down. He needs. He
So
needs
they
to
need
be
rocks
consistent.
if they want to make a wild card and surprise me and everyone else.
He needs to be consistent. That's the whole point. You have 3 guys that have ability. They obviously have a pretty high ceiling, but you know they're going to throw it. Out of 5 games, you're going to get 3 good ones and 2 bad ones out of all these guys.
And then Bob just checked in. Who is the best closer available? Identify and target him. Well, the best closer on the market probably just got traded to the Washington
Yeah, he just
Nationals,
got
your
traded.
division rival.
Yeah.
While Matt Klentak and the Philadelphia Phillies front office is asleep at the wheel once again. It's a shame
I agree.
because if they spent a little bit of money and spent the little bit of money correctly, they could have easily contended for a
well,
wild card.
let me ask you a question. Keela, you think he'd be any better than the guy in Texas? He's okay.
Than what they have, or
Than what
compared
they
to Herrera?
than what they have.
They don't have a closer right now. The
It's-
closer went to AAA today.
Texas.
He was demoted
I'm just
because he
thinking
can't get anybody out consistently.
I'm just thinking of some of the closers that are on other teams.
Yes, he
right
would be.
now.
He would be an upgrade here.
Yeah,
He's not as good as Herrera.
No, and he hasn't proven anything because he's a closer on a last place team, which that's kind of tough. I mean, really, if you look at it though, 2 closers have now been traded because Colomé was traded from the
Rays to the Mariners. Yes.
to the Mariners. So I mean, that's actually 2 guys that have flown under Clintack's radar.
Couldn't use either of them.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's just.
I mean, Carlos Santana, I criticized that signing. I didn't like that, giving him $20 million a year. I would have much rather given Hosmer 7 for $144.
Yeah, I'm
or
starting
you
to
sign.
agree with that. But where the only problem with Hosmer is where would you put him?
You put him at first.
And then Hoskins plays the outfield?
Right, that's what he's doing now.
Okay.
Hoskins is fine in the outfield.
Okay.
He's
All
fine.
right.
He's never going to win a Gold Glove, but he does good enough.
He doesn't have to win a Gold Glove as long as he hits.
He's hitting now,
Yeah.
and I think he is going to be a really good player in
But a lot of
the
guys,
major leagues for the Phillies.
Rob, a lot of guys go through slumps though.
Yeah.
Look
Don't
at
worry
Didi-
about Rhys
Look
Hoskins.
at Didi Gregorius, okay? Player of the month in April.
Terrible May.
Went 0 for May, and now he's banging the ball again in June.
It happens.
That's baseball.
Slumps happen.
Yeah, that's baseball though. You're gonna have.
I'm not worried about Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, he's. You know what? He had a rough couple.
He's
of
not
months.
going to hit 330 and hit 35 home runs like
You
some of
never
the
know.
Philly
Maybe
fans
he will.
think.
But maybe he will. Maybe he's going to get red hot and he's going to hit 10 home runs in July and
God
10
will.
home runs in August.
My
You never
expectations
know.
aren't that high, so
Yeah.
I'd rather keep my expectations low and be surprised if that happens.
I'm just
than
saying, but-
expect that.
But in baseball, you never know. I mean, that could happen. Just like I would like to see Giancarlo Stanton go 2 games without striking out.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Or maybe get a hit against a right-handed pitcher, which doesn't seem to happen either. But there's too many guys out there, and I want to get back to some of these other pitchers that are available, okay, or that could be available. I mean, and there are plenty of them that are on other teams that could go. I mean, if you look around the league, as I said, I think I went back to San Diego and I mentioned I mentioned
There's
Richard.
Brad Hand. There's
Brad
Hap.
Hap.
There's rumors that the Mariners are super interested in Hap. Bumgarner, I don't think is going to get traded.
Okay, he may.
With
and
the
he may
second
not.
wild card, if this was a couple years ago and there wasn't that second wild card, you might have something there. But I mean, with the second wild card, we see teams make that are right around
San
500.
San Francisco is probably around 4 or 5 games out right now. If that number
Which is-
goes up to 10,
They're
I would
4.5 back of the Diamondbacks. But Brad, you can't just look at the division. You got to look at the wild card standings.
I understand that. I think the wild card, they're further behind in the wild card than they are the division.
They're 4.5 back in both.
Okay, so they're 4.5 back. I think it's going to be double digits by the middle of July. I just don't think they're a good team, San Francisco. I mean, if you look at the players on their team, I mean, I'm shocked that they're able to win. Their lineup is
Well, McCutchen has been good.
the rest of the team just. I mean,
Well,
Gorkis
Brandon
Hernandez
Crawford
is
and
okay.
Brandon Belt are
Are
two
back.
really good players.
They're back now. Belt is finally playing again, right? Is he off the disabled
yes.
list now? Okay, so
Panic is back.
Panic has not been playing. Panic is not hitting at all, though.
So Chicago and Milwaukee are tied so that's why they're both on the technically tied for the wild card lead. So the wild cards right now are the Nationals and the Cardinals, who are playing the Phillies right now. Phillies, Dodgers. The Phillies 1 game back, Dodgers 1.5 games back. Then you get the Pirates, the Giants, the Rockies, etc., etc. But it's disappointing because a guy like Kelvin Herrera with a 1 ERA and 14 saves, when you just sent your closer to the minor leagues, would have been a good get.
Oh, it hurts.
Would have improved the team immensely. Would have increased your playoff chances immensely, but Matt Klintak decides not to do anything yet again.
Yeah, I mean, he basically
4-2 in the bottom of the eighth, so we'll see if this ragtag bullpen of the Phillies can hold on. I hope that they can get a few more runs here in the bottom of the eighth. I guess Sir Anthony Dominguez is going to close the game tonight. Your guess
you
is
would
as
think
good
so.
Your guess is as good as mine if it's not him, because he did pitch.
Yeah, you would think so.
He did have a couple of over 1 inning outings over the weekend. So winging a prayer in that bullpen right now, and Sean Doolittle and Kelvin Herrera are both on your main competition in the NL
I'll tell you what,
East.
another reliever that might be available is Jeurys Familia of the Mets.
I mean, maybe he's injured right now.
I think he's getting ready to come back.
Getting ready to come back. Okay.
So I mean,
Sure, if you can convince the Mets to trade him to a division rival, cool.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. The Phillies have a very good farm system. The Mets would be foolish not to listen to anybody at this point for talent, because it is my opinion, and maybe I'm, as a Yankee fan, I'm a little bit more cruel than the next guy when it comes to the Mets. I think the Mets are the worst team in baseball right now.
Well, that's just you just
After-
hate the Mets. But
well,
there's the,
okay,
the
but let me ask
Baltimore
you-
Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are an absolute train wreck.
Okay, well, the Mets started off 11-1.
Okay, but the
Okay,
Mets,
what is their record now?
The Mets at least have building blocks to trade at the deadline to get some young talent in there.
Though I mean, but
To say that the Baltimore Orioles are not the worst team in baseball, you need to have your head examined. That team is god awful.
okay, let me check the standings a second. 'Cause I
I have them right here. What do
Okay.
you want to know?
What is the Mets record right now?
The Mets are 30-38.
Okay,
They have 10 more wins than the Baltimore Orioles.
they are 30 and
They have
38.
8 more wins than the
Okay.
Royals, and they have
since they started 11-1. Okay, that means
it's not good.
That means their record
The Orioles
18-37.
The Orioles have no chance to go 11-1. The Kansas City Royals and the Baltimore Orioles are 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Well, I think the Orioles
1-9.
The Orioles finally won the other like a stone right now.
But they have
talent.
they have talent. They have
They
to
can
compare
hit.
they have much better talent than the Orioles, the Mets, the Reds, the Marlins.
Well, I'll tell you
all
what.
those
This
teams.
is a big week for the
The Royals run differential is -136, which
my
is
God.
just
that's really bad.
astronomically horrible. It's by far the worst in the MLB.
And the Orioles are 20-50.
30 games under 500 on June 18th. A
20
pathetic assembly of talent
20-50.
outside of Manny Machado.
Yeah, and Chris Davis is benched until further notice now. That's how bad
I would
it's
cut
gotten.
him.
Yeah, you can't cut him. He's got a $160
I don't
million
care.
contract.
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm sure they would love to, but I mean,
Have him do the laundry. I would in no way
he's-
put him.
yeah, he's a disgrace right now. He really is. I mean,
But
how are you that? How can anybody?
we
do
got
that?
the
You've got Seattle Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at home.
I mean,
Stadium.
Seattle's-
Yeah, it was a split.
2-2. They won 2.
2 and
I
2.
thought they went 1-3.
Well, no,
My
actually,
apologies.
the game on Friday night, the Red Sox actually had a 6-3 lead.
Well, they roughed up Paxton
And they-
the one night.
Yeah, that wasn't all his fault. Seattle made 2 errors behind him, but they blew a 6-3 lead that night. I think on the first and then they came back and beat him 9-8. I think they were losing like 6-2 or something like that, and they came back on the Boston bullpen, and then they won like 1-0 or 2-1, something like that on Saturday, and then Mike Leake got bombed on Sunday, and they
Monday,
lost
Tuesday,
9-2.
Wednesday of next week. So
Yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. Should be fun.
the Phillies can take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in their bullpen. I'll get on board with all these knuckleheads on Facebook that think the Phillies are going to win 90 games.
You know what? I would have to see who's pitching next week for the Yankees. Let me think. Severino pitched Saturday, so that means he's going to pitch what, Wednesday?
Even
Sunday,
without
Monday,
the DH.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Severino pitches Thursday, so Severino's going to pitch against the Phillies. I doubt you'll beat him. Maybe you will. I mean, it's baseball, but you'll have a tough time with him, and that
Well,
means that you'll
I hope
probably-
it ends up being Severino and Nola. That'd be something to see.
That would be fun. I don't know about Sabathia and Gray when they're pitching. But the Yankees have a much more important series coming up after the Phillies.
Well, it's an interleague.
I know. No, I'm just saying.
It's fun for this
right after,
show's purposes.
Oh, I understand. But the series after the Phillies is the Red Sox. Perhaps the Phillies can catch the Yankees looking ahead. I mean, that's a possibility too, because that is going to be a huge series for the Yankees, most definitely. But you got to win the game. You got to win all the games. They all count. So they can't overlook the Phillies next week for sure, because the Phillies are not a bad team.
They have the potential to be a pest if they're hitting.
Yes,
but
the one thing I would
if one of these guys,
is,
if an Eflin, Velasquez, or Pavetta gets going the wrong way against that lineup, I don't care if they have a DH or not, it could get really bad.
The problem is the Yankees DH can and does play the field a lot.
I understand.
And that's Stanton. I mean,
but
Stanton does.
They're
play
only
going to
have 8 power hitters in their lineup against the Phillies instead of the usual 9.
Right. Well, I mean, because basically what happens is either Gardner or Hicks sit down in the net when they play in the National Leagues.
And it's still a very potent lineup.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Like if Vince Velasquez goes out there and walks the yard, it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, he's asking for trouble. I have no doubt Nola can shut them down. I mean, he shuts everybody else down. I mean, he'll probably shut the Yankees down too.
If Nola's going good,
Nola can shut down anybody.
Plus, he just had a bad start against the Brewers yesterday. He only went 4 innings and gave up some home runs.
Well, he's human.
Right.
It happens. I mean, Severino gave up a couple of runs against the Mets.
He lost the Mets.
Yeah, he only gave up 2 runs, but it happens. Guys don't always have good games. Not every pitcher, no pitcher, no matter how good they are, doesn't have a couple of clunkers during the season.
That'll be really fun next Monday to take our listeners through the Phillies Yankees.
It will definitely be
opener there.
It'll definitely be a lot
that'll
of fun.
That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to
fun
that.
Series. I think it's going to be an interesting series. I mean, I think if the Yankees come away with a series win, I would think that would be very good for them. I can't sit there and expect them to sweep a series on the road, especially against a good team. And I do think the Phillies are a good team. So it'll be a lot of fun next week. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let's see what's going on tonight with the Yankees. Last I looked, it was 4-2 in the 9th inning, which means that Chapman will be coming in to try to lock it down. And Chapman has not been used since Friday. So, the Nationals actually. Wait a minute. It's 4-2 in the top of the 9th. Yeah, it's 4.
And hold on to your hats, Phillies fans, because there is 1 out in the top of the 9th. The Cardinals have runners on 2nd and 3rd, and who is this guy trying to close out the game? Victor Arano.
Uh-oh.
Do you know who he is?
I have heard of Victor Arano. I think he was
used. Why is he closing games?
I have no idea.
He's 23, so maybe he's like Sir Anthony. I can give him something.
They have brought up another guy. In other words, okay. So Chapman is now
another guy.
Chapman now in for the Yankees. They have a 4-2 lead on the Nationals in the bottom of the 9th.
He did record a hold yesterday in the game, so he pitched yesterday.
Yeah. And the only thing I know, I'm looking up his stats right now.
I have him right here. He's got a 1.96 ERA. He's got 26 strikeouts. And he's got a 1.09 WHIP.
But here's the problem: the Phillies are 5-15 whenever he appears in a game.
Right. So he's a beginner. He probably comes in when they're losing already.
Right.
So
now he's thrown into the fire because they didn't trade for Kelvin
Yeah.
Guerrero, and it's a big problem. They might lose this game.
Oh, God forbid.
They might lose this game. They had the exact same record as the St. Louis Cardinals coming in. They were both 37 and 32, both 5 games over 500.
Oh my God! 2nd and 3rd. Oh, they got Bader struck out. So now 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs.
I want to talk about some NFL.
So he went out. He struck
wrap
out
it up
swinging.
though. Did you guys see Terrell Owens run a 4.4 40 while working out with Julio Jones? I believe Money Mayweather
That's
was there as
amazing
well.
that's amazing he can run that
44
fast.
years old, ran a 4.440. He's
Man.
pushing to play.
Well, let me ask you a question, Rob. And I think I mentioned this
I would
before.
sign him in 5 seconds.
Can
he
he-
could start.
Can
He can
get
start in this league.
Do you think he can still get off the line
Yes.
of scrimmage? Because that tends to be a problem with older players.
Well, let's just put it this way.
Jerry Rice could still run too when he retired, but he couldn't get off the line of scrimmage.
Jerry Rice did not have the physique and the muscle mass that
True.
Terrell Owens had. I mean,
Okay. But he could run fast,
his
though.
body type.
He could
yeah,
run
I
fast,
mean-
though. He could still run. It just
4.4. That is
4.4 is fast. No, that's 4.4 is faster than most safeties.
he can run. So he ran a 4.4. He's in.
How old
he's
is
not.
he right
he's
now?
not. He's 44 years old. He just got inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I mean, he's not in pads, granted, but I mean, those guys at the combine, they're not in pads, and he's running faster than some of those guys. He's got sunglasses on, his hat on backwards. He's still sculpted like a Greek god. So I would tend to think
44
yes.
44 is old, and football is a tough sport. I mean, I understand he's built
The
like
guy's
a brick.
freak.
He's built like a brick.
You're telling me he can't help the Jets? He can't help the Niners? He can't help. I mean, who else's wide receivers stink? The Jaguars.
But he's such a pain in the ass, though. That's the problem. Is he worth it? Is he worth the trouble? That's
Well,
that's
you're
the
giving
only
him a
question.
throwaway. You're giving him a throwaway contract. You're giving him the league minimum to show up
Okay.
to camp and try and make the team.
Okay.
But
okay. Your boy Arano right now has a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Munoz, the shortstop, with runners on second and third, and the Phillies tenuously hanging on to a 4-2 lead. So we'll see about that. Phillies could definitely use this game.
yes,
You wanna
this is a
start-
big series. They're both 37 and 32.
Yeah.
If all things go right for each team, they're going to be battling with each other. Yes, these are big games. You
Yeah,
need
especially
to win these
especially
games.
against a team that they could be battling with the wild card for.
We'll give you a hockey shout out. Barry Trotz resigns as the Washington Capitals head coach today, riding off into the sunset.
Great
with
way to
his
go out, I'll say
Stanley
that.
Cup championship.
Well, you know what? He's coached for 18 years.
Yeah, he's
Finally-
coached for a long time.
Finally
Yeah.
reached the
It's about
mountaintop.
18. Yeah, it's
I
been
believe his
18
contract
years.
was up at the end of the month,
It
and they were
was.
working on extension for him.
It
He
was.
flat out resigns. He's riding off into the sunset. So what are they going to do for a coach?
You're
They're the
not-
champs.
You are not going to like this.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Munoz struck out. The ball got past the catcher,
Of course it did.
and he's safe at first base, and
See,
the run scored.
This is why
Of course.
This is why I can't get on board with this team. When people blow up my Facebook and text messages that tell me that this clown team like this is going to win 90 games. Do you know how many 90 games is?
90 games is a lot.
That's
of
a
wins.
lot of games.
So
This is why I can't. 2-run lead at home with what's supposed to be. It's got to be a win.
all right. So
It's got to be a win.
who's Morgan, by the way?
Adam Morgan's
Adam
in the
Morgan.
game.
Adam Morgan just relieved Arano.
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
2 outs.
So that's a
2
loss.
outs. Yeah, but the guy struck him out. I think the ball got past the catcher. So
Right,
whose
what do you-
fault is that?
Not the pitchers.
Exactly.
I don't know how the other two people got on or who was even pitching. I'm here doing the show. I'm following the box score.
Boy, oh
That's
boy.
frustrating. Was that the third out of the game?
Yeah, that would have been
And
the
now
game.
Adam Morgan's in.
Right.
And Marcelo
Right.
Ozuna is probably up.
No, Fan is that
Great.
his name?
He's even better than Ozuna.
Tommy Fan is up.
But
Tom
that's
Fan.
why I can't.
He's
For all
pinch
these.
hitting.
Oh, Rob, what do you mean? This is Phillies doing good. 5 games over 500. Why can't you get on board? You're such a hater. Because of bullshit like this. A drop third strike to extend the game. Was there 2 outs? I don't even know if it was.
There was
extend-
2 outs.
There were 2 outs, so it does
There's 2
extend
outs.
the
There's
game.
second and
And
third.
then Kelvin Herrera, who would be an all-star closer at the back end of this bullpen, just is going to be a setup man now in Washington.
or
That's
Doolittle's gonna be
frustrating.
second
That's
man.
very frustrating to me as a fan.
I'd
And
be-
then they wait
I'd be
the
throwing-
whole offseason.
I'd be throwing.
They're scared to
That
death.
would be.
At what point do you have to get involved?
You know what? That would
At
be.
what point does management have to get involved
That would be.
and commit to making this baseball team better.
You know what? That would be remote control throwing time. Seeing something like
That's
that happen.
ridiculous.
I mean, hopefully.
A drop third strike? Is Alfaro catching tonight?
I don't know, but the ball got past the catcher. The guy struck out. The ball got past the catcher, and it's now 4-3. And now Morgan is in the game.
And
facing
Adam
Colton
Morgan
Wong.
stinks. Remember when Jason Hayward hit that home run, walk-off grand slam a couple weeks ago? Not even a couple weeks ago. Last week on the
by
last
the way,
road trip.
He's down. He's behind 2-0 now.
Behind 2-0. He's either going to walk.
Who's up after Colton Wong? That's the question.
Oh boy.
Colton Wong.
Let's just watch the game cast here.
Yeah, Colton Wong. Oh my God. Colton Wong was pinch hitting for
Wong. So
Wong.
Bader's not at the top of the lineup tonight.
No, Munoz. So I guess Colton Wong is hitting for Carpenter. No, I guess he's hitting for the pitcher. So, oh my God.
I mean, hopefully they nail this down, so I really don't get frustrated here as we're closing the show. But, I mean, that's ridiculous. A drop third strike to end the game.
It's 2-2 now.
I got it right here on my computer.
Oh, okay. So you saw what happened with the missed third strike. What do you have, Gary Sanchez catching for you?
Oh man.
Did I say that?
I mean, that's ridiculous. And then Kelvin. Now all my buddies are texting me.
Jeez.
Are you watching the Phillies?
Yeah, they're watching the game. What actually happened? Because we didn't see it, but it looks like he messed up the strikeout. He missed the pitch. I mean,
It looked like it went the catcher did not block the ball.
Oh my God,
That's what happened.
so it wasn't the pitcher's fault.
It was not the pitcher's fault. The catcher did not block.
So Sanchez is
But-
secretly playing for the Phillies right
Yeah,
now.
this fortifies my opinion that Matt Klintak is a total boob and has no fucking clue how to do anything, and the game's tied.
Oh, boy.
Fucking
Oh
great.
boy.
Real great. Colton Wong single to center. Get Adam Morgan
goes-
off this baseball team.
There goes 7
Adam
points
Morgan
of the fantasy
stinks.
team. Oh my God, that's
Jeez.
How can you let that happen? You drop the third strike. I mean, the 23-year-old
This is
kid's going in,
frustrating.
doing the best he can, gets his opportunity, strikes out. Who did he strike out? Pham, who's hitting .310 with 10 home runs to win the game at home against a team with the same record as you.
You get Nick Pivetta throws 7 1/3 innings.
And you let the Nationals
4 hits,
add the best closer
2
on the
runs.
market for nothing.
1 walk, 13 strikeouts, and you waste that performance.
Jeez.
And Nick
Unreal.
Pivetta pissed the
Nick Pivetta,
Unreal.
you wasted
This bullpen.
you wasted
is
a Nick
ridiculous.
Pivetta gem, and that is a gem. And you don't see him coming up with games like that every day. That's for sure. That is
Unbelievable.
That is not championship baseball.
Not at all.
That's boy oh boy.
We done.
Yeah, let's
Unbelievable. Kelvin Herrera, Phillies have no closer. They're throwing out Adam Morgan in big spots. But this team's going to be in the wild card and win 90 fucking games. We'll be back next week. Dissect it all.
See
They're
ya,
going to get
guys.
slaughtered by the Yankees. Can't wait.